Good morning, everybody. Well, what can you say? This is a little amazing. This move up. I can't say technically it doesn't make sense. Um, but what am I doing? Chart. Yeah. I'm gonna put the charts up then. Um, but you got to wonder: is this market the way it's been going? And it is, it is like a crack addict. It's hoping that it's going to get this interest rate cut. Does today's numbers support that? I don't think so. If you look at the slight decrease, it's not significant, but this is the way things have been. But just looking at the way things are, was this pattern constructive enough to suggest a move up? Absolutely, it was. However, you also have to, I cannot accept, but look at the reality of what happens when these type of patterns are disappointed, meaning patterns display what others think, right? What their intentions are. And, looking at the weekly chart, there's no doubt that the majority think that the markets should go higher. And they have. You got this momentum move, started at the end of last year, and then a continuation in this little pullback. And now we've got this little pullback pattern with this big bar. As if, in retrospect, you look back and it's like, did somebody know what was coming? Well, probably. I mean, that's just the way things are. Someone's always whispering and, giving inside information regardless of what others say. But anyway, um, we talked about this consolidation. It was going nowhere at the top of the wide range bar. Yesterday's a bottoming tail bar. And now today things are moving up. Right. So where are they going to go? Well, of course, that's a very difficult thing when prices are at new all-time highs. And one of the things we could look at, right, is, and this also is interesting because when you look at, say, open interest in SPX options and looking at what the largest open interest is, while there are strikes up above, say at 5,400 and 5,450 and 5,500, they're not that large compared to what's now in the money at 5,300 and what has been. And so there's air up above, and we'll see how much further this can get. And at this point, there's nothing up there to stop it. So the only thing that could stop it is at some point, sellers come in and say, hey, we're taking advantage of this and we'll see what happens. So applying what occurred, and we talked about over the last few days, this consolidation that had been forming. And so that we recognize as being new support and that should stay above it. And it has. And now, buyers are just jumping in hand over fist to get on board this moving train here. And this low, again, we're looking at the futures, and as we look at the S&Ps, obviously it's going to be the same as to where there's going to be significant support. Intraday, you can see it's certainly getting extended, and we'll see what happens here at the open as far as profit taking and how much it pulls back or the lack thereof. Nasdaq's been leading, similar pattern, a little bit more bullish. Yesterday was an up move, and now, it's up a whole bunch. It's beginning to stall here. Same story. Just see, can it get up to that next 19,600? Where is it closing right now? 500. So those whole numbers become reference points to keep an eye on, and just bar by bar now put your new higher support level on these NASDAQ futures at 19,000. Right? This is major support. The high prior to the lower low, that's your major support. YM has been the dog. It's still the dog, but it's participating because when the markets are going up like this, it lifts even the junk. So yesterday in the green room, we were reviewing what was showing strength besides Apple Computer. And there were a lot of stocks that were helping lift the market that were bottoming patterns. And that's a good thing, because what it tells us is that money is shifting into the underperformers, looking for value or what could play catch up. And those are the kind of patterns that could help support the market and, the junk kind of lifting up. Whereas even if the market doesn't pull back very much, it could hold, around these levels if those underperformers start to play catch up. And of course, the semiconductors have to continue to move up. And noticeably, NVIDIA didn't do too much yesterday, but Apple was the star of the day. That moved up to new all-time highs. Even the small caps are participating this morning, because when things are moving up like this, and look at the size of this bar, right? Underperformer playing catch up. It's still within this big mess, but we'll see where this ends the day. But looking at IWM, that's going to be gapping up, looking at this into the area of this topping tail bar. It's at 206.75. I got to look into why this stopped updating, because I have it on 24 hours. 206. Right, so it's going to gap up somewhere around here, which is an incredible size gap, up into there, but it's going to gap up into a significant resistance area. So it's unlikely that it's going to do too much. And so now we get more of a confirmed trading range, with this being a breakdown failure, and prices are just going sideways within that. And so while we, in the past talked about the possibility of this breaking out into this void above, and then it failed and it came back down to this area of this prior pivot low, and now it's recovered. We have to start, and gapping up here, what we have to start watching is, hey, the size of this gap being significant into this resistance area, can it now hold up here? Can it go sideways for a little while? Will it eventually break out? We'll be looking and talking about that in the coming weeks. It's going to take some time. Just take a peek at semiconductors, and then I'll get to, hold on a second, I got to look on my other platform. They're at 260.75. So they're gapping up 260.75. A decent amount. And so having these 4 or 5 days that went nowhere, as we look at different indices and sectors, it's obvious that this is going to be a very significant support point that should not be violated. And we will just do the same thing with everything, meaning these last few days that prices couldn't get above, the size of these gaps suggest they should not even be filled. So, as we look at what's happening pre-market every day, I share, and Dan Chan's his shares our thoughts as to what we believe should or should not happen. So with a gap of this significance, just think about an earnings gap, right? XYZ reports earnings, it's great. And stock gaps up significantly. Those stocks that go higher in the future do not fill the gap. They don't. Buyers are so enthusiastic that they continue to step up to the plate, and they create a higher level of support that then prices move up from. So look, things have moved up a lot. It's not like this is gapping up from a consolidation. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't view this in the same way as this move up, which is, what is it communicating? New life to the belief of a Fed rate cut, maybe more than one. Remember it was 6, 3, 2, 1, none. And so this move up suggests a rebirth of that belief that they're going to get their rate cuts. We'll see what the Fed says today at 2:00. Some idiot posting something in the social media here. All right. All right. Bitcoin tried to break down yesterday, support level pivot low there, popping right back up, going nowhere. And yesterday, and even the day before, not so more so the day before, but it was interesting. And maybe that was a tell. We're going to be talking about tells today in MT Live, more related to price action. But when I think about the reaction today and a tell related to intermarket analysis, it was like, hey, and I think I talked about this pre-market, certainly talked about it in the green room, was like, what is up? Is this market, totally ignoring what's going on here? Interest rates are going up, the dollar's going up, oil's going up. Markets always went down, in the recent history when that's happened, and the markets are going up. So somebody knew something. Somebody knew something. And now here it is. I'm going to get to it. Don, I know you want to get into the room here. All right, so let's look at SPY. Let me go back, SPY here. It's at 541.85. 541.85. Right, so this is where it's going to gap up to, right? Give or take, whatever happens here. And as I'm looking at my beautiful drawings from prior days, one of the things that we always talk about when we see head and shoulders tops, and I said this, I believe yesterday, was that when they don't work out, the reaction tends to be violent. And that's exactly what we're seeing today. This is a distribution pattern. And those tells that were going on, this was still positive, in the daily time frame. But when these things do not work out, historically, the reaction is violent. All right, so it's going to gap up, assuming it stays here in the next 15 minutes. I mean, it's right around there. Right. So there's nothing to the left, but there's a big hole down below, the void. And with this support level, forget about 5,300, 300 now. It shouldn't even come down here, let alone close into this bar. So that sets our expectations for at least the early part of the day that prices should stay up there, jiggle around somewhere on the 5-minute chart. It'll create a pivot at some point where we'll have some support other than this, and we'll see if it holds at that pivot or not. SPX. And this is the beauty part of SPX and not holding these things overnight, because especially in front of news. But when you get this kind of reaction, the premiums pop up to insane levels, and now they've zeroed them out. But this is where the premium was when I looked and what was happening, which was like 10 minutes ago at the most. So it's going to gap up. Can it get up there today? My belief is no. To get through 5,450, to get close to 5,500, I think that would certainly be too much, too fast. There'd be lots of sellers up there. And, I'll say this with the disclaimer that anything's possible. It isn't getting there today. We shall see. The bottom strike was in the area of yesterday's low. And based on where it's gapping to, something terrible would have to happen. Right? What could happen so terrible? The Fed chair comes on and says something that shakes the market's expectations about what they believe is going to happen right now. I don't think anybody expects that. Well, we never expect surprises, right, by definition. But look, in any event, it shouldn't go down there today, and it's highly unlikely it's going up there today. That's the bottom line. I'm interested to see what the transports do because they've just been dead in the water. That's not a positive sign for the markets. But let's see if they start to bring up the rear and get up to this, converging 50 and 200 MA. And as I'm looking at this now for the first time today, it's interesting, death crosses, golden crosses. Well, the 50 MA just crossed under the 200 on the transports. And while we got the S&Ps at new all-time highs, we're getting a death cross. I don't believe in that kind of stuff, moving average crossovers for telling the market, but, here you go. And you're not going to hear anybody talking about a death cross in the transports on CNBC. That we can be sure of. But there it is. And you can certainly mark it and then think about it. Time to buy the death cross? Maybe, Alex. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it's on this support here. And if it closes well today, of course. And, I mentioned in the room the other day, just to keep an eye on this, which has been pounded down, that it's kind of holding here. Can it start moving up? These truckers and, CSX, which was on our list, wind up, it was bottoming out here and that failed. Can it, flip right back up again? So these are the things that we'll be observing today. Financials were breaking down. Now, I can't wait to see what they're gonna be doing. I mean, they should be going up, right? And they are. They're at 41.22 right now. So, they're gapping up above that red bar. So that's a bullish gap. We'll see if it can hold on to it, that it's at this congestion area. Interest rates, that is, definitely on crack, right? Schizophrenic, crack addicts. Just going back our conversations, this pullback, buy setup, it fails, bottoming tail bar. Now it's back down again. I mean, it's kind of insane, right? So we'll see what happens here. Of course, does it continue lower, which this bar suggests lower, those bullish bars suggest higher. And what is gold doing? We know oil is up. Gold is up. So some more inflation beliefs. We'll see how this whole day unfolds and what holds on to the gains or not. And we'll discuss that in the green room throughout the day. And of course, tomorrow morning, pre-market. To you, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, Greg, in my nightly video, I said the same reference to crack cocaine and interest rates. But that's how it's, they love cheap money. It's been that way forever. All right, so obviously a ton of alarms going off here. We have a ton of bullish positions, so these gaps are all.
I don't hear Dan. Do you guys? Maybe it's me.
Yeah, I'm talking. Yeah, I'm talking. Okay. All right, so STX, we had today is Wednesday, and so Monday we had a beautiful entry there. His cousin WDC, I posted pre-market 1, 2, 3. It's gapping up. Let's watch a little pullback. STX alarm just went off at 103. We had both put spread and directional on this. Looks great. Yeah, this has a big target, daily, weekly, monthly, but we're up very nicely now. ANET, well, yesterday, big old multi-week turn here, buy set up weekly, gapping up, looks great. Airbnb, gapping up, we have a put spread. Now this one could be a catch up, like 30-minute high, but we're near our target as a put spread. So this is a fantastic example where we're at 90% of max profit, and it's gone absolutely nowhere since selling the put spread. Vico up alarm, we're long. I said sell at third pre-market 45.50. I said we'll buy setup, bullish reversal. ESTC, Alex, this was yours. I've been watching. That could be a 30-minute high. VTR. We entered on Wednesday and it was just kind of slopping around. So I said, let's just dump that pre-market, take the small gain. Hood up alarm. We have a covered call. It's a core long. DPZ. I posted pre-market as a 1, 2, 3. Looks great. Tiva. I posted long calls over this little 15-minute closing bar. It's gapping over it. I have that in the bottom right here. I gave a limit entry on the call options. Snap here. This triggered 1561. No, it didn't. So it's gapping over the entry. The bullish daily weekly. That was in the weekend letter. Let's watch that on the pullback. And there's other alarms. Amen. It's not a textbook 1, 2, 3 because it wasn't an inside bar, but I mentioned this. See this inverse head and shoulder breakout yesterday afternoon was the perfect entry. And yeah, Apple carried the day yesterday, but spiders cues. And then this end of day rally, I'm like, wow, they are having no fear at all, jumping in front of this number. And so I take that as a bullish sign, like somebody knows something. So bulls are getting paid for that bias. All right, Oracle here. These are earnings. That's a monster gap. I know a few people in the green room shorted some puts on that, so good job there. This one, earnings, I was hoping that it would gap just over Monday's high, and then we would do a 30-minute high. All right, Fizzler. Well, I don't know, flying. But you know what? We're in that. Let me see where our back target is. Because I said bid 4 cents half. Let's when we manage credit spreads, obviously different than directionals. But if we're at 90% max profit and it's Wednesday and we have a Fed meeting, it just makes total sense to take your money and get out of the way of danger. So let's just move that 5-minute low, take our money. Our M gapping up. Macy's, we did a nice $1 wide. So I moved the stop on that. This is another great example. I wouldn't touch this thing as a directional. But see this big old reversal bar on Monday? We sold a 18-17 put spread. So that, another great trade. Intel, this could be a bottoming dog catch up. Totally lagging SMHs, but that's what we call a catch up trade. Pins. Yeah, watch on a pullback. Let me go through these other earnings here. There's not many of them. RBRK, no pattern. Pets gapping down, bearish gap. Here, dog, Casey. This, it's sloppy, but this is a bullish turn. It's a pseudo inverse head and shoulder, just a sloppy one, but gap's too big. Mama, I was hoping would open flat, and then I was going to buy the high. Gap down's messing it up. No interest. These are all. Why am I looking at this? Oh, this was earnings too, pre-market. All right. ZH gapping up, no pattern. VRA gapping down 6. That's a bearish gap. That could be a dead cat bounce maybe, but I'd rather focus on strength. AFMD buy setup. I was hoping it would open flat, gapping up here. That's worth watching on the pullback. Lulu had this earnings gap. My up alarm went off, so that's a put spread watch. Uniform has just been steady liquidation. That's nowhere near bottoming. But I just saw it gapping up with everything else. There's our Pizza Hut I mentioned. Wolf buy setup after breakout, but gap's too big now. Wow, it's a big gap. I kept it on my list. One of you brought it to my attention on Monday. That gap's messing it up. TIBA we looked at. Home Depot up $10. This was on my put spread watch. Now that's a bottoming pattern, but there's going to be no juice with a $10 gap up. All right, this is a 1, 2, 3, but the gap's too big. ECL continuation pattern. It's extended but strong. ISRG. And if you ignore this tail, it's a little bull rectangle. A bowl, I was hoping for a 1, 2, 3. EA is a sloppy buy setup. Burke got a downgrade. That's a call spread idea. C-Web. I like the buy setup on the weekly. So it's just a matter of, patiently waiting for a more confident turn here because it's in a downtrend. But it's at the 50. It's a buy setup. So we'll just watch it. ARM has been on a tear. All right, RDNT. Nice. Now we can move stuff under this closing pivots. About 60.88. Alex, CDW alarm finally went off. But I gotta, be honest, I am much more interested in taking profits than I am entering new trades here until things settle down. Because novices buy into big gaps out of excitement. Although yesterday was a very bullish close. I cannot deny. General Motors, it's hitting my 49. Wow, tick 1500, yields way down. RDNT, let me set new alarms. 63, 61.15. Yeah, no, I know. No. So this is a new setup that's not extended at all. So let's buy 5 minute high. Stop week slow. Well, and I'll put one caveat into that, Greg. It's it's potentially going to get going. Oh, here, let's check some. Let's see where we're at on this. All right, Intel coming in. Pizza Hut, don't chase. All right, Texans sell half at 420. If you were in it, of course. Yes, so now it's bullish as can be. That's what we call a continuation gap. And that little island consolidated. HCA, up alarm, but that's he's on probation. Let me set a new alarm, 342. Yeah. Wow, is that tail real? That's crazy. Yeah, my alarm didn't go off, but we're in it. Let me adjust it. Z lab 2042. Let's move stop break even then. WS. Yeah, let me check these new trades I posted too for the gaps. Yeah, I canceled that DKS because it just was wide and whippy. Yeah. Now it's a gap breakout, sure. Yeah, let's so now check put spread and watch directional trim. Not bad. WSM, that'd be a no-brainer put spread. Um, Dick's put spread. If somebody wants to help me look, I'm slammed. All right, Tiva. Tiva is a go. STX. Let's 8x. So let's sell half here. Move stuff. 132. Q's holding well. Wow, Apple. Beautiful 15-minute charts. Wow, look at that 15 from yesterday. Incredible. All right, Pizza Hut, cancel, gap's too big. But I mean, but for the pending news, that would have been a pattern to take home yesterday. Alarms, WDC. Looks good. And Greg, what do you think of the entry here? Sometimes you and I have different opinions on what's extended.
I mean, it's a grinder, so it's an obvious place where the stop could be. So, it wouldn't be an all-in thing, but the breakout, wide range bar, inside bar, consolidation,
I know.
it's all good. Money management will take care of the uncertainty because we never know, right?
All right, HCA. I don't know, we can move stop break even now. Cool. Yeah. He was on fire here.
Well, I can look the premium down, but into it, that's a put spread. I would assume it'd have to go out to next week. Yeah.
Yeah, I also said DKS and WSM, but I need help. Wow, that's $600.
Next week's a monthly expiration. Is that a quarterly expiration?
Mm-hmm.
Those are often turning points.
And two, it's too spready. DKS 213. Wow, they're spready too. 70 by 110.
You could short it under today's low, Scott, CRM. It's on that support from yesterday on the 5 minute. Well, it's a 2 minute. Let me switch over to a 5 minute. It's got to be the same thing on that pivot. So, yeah, stop above the high of the day for now until it gets some momentum.
Yeah, that's like spready as can be. RDNT up alarm. Let's switch stuff below now. Under 62.
Yeah. I'm selling in Google and Meta, nothing to violate any support yet, but more so than Nvidia and Microsoft and Apple.
Mm, mm, The thing went way against us. 305.84. Yeah, we're in a small profit now on Sherwin, so just dump it. That was a nasty move against us. Already in two flying. AMAT of $6. That thing's on fire. Lab. I can see that outbreak even. That's too wild. Yeah, bios. Wow, big old gap. You're right. We have a half lot long. Wow, that wolf really took off. Wow, big gap, so no pattern. Yeah, Qualcomm's worth watching. You mentioned Marvel earlier. It's more of a put spread. Airbnb. Let's see if we know where the midpoint is. 142. Yeah, 6 cents. So we're out of that. Fortune has an IG trade. Um, W in the making. Very possible. Very possible, yes. When you'll start nibbling? Well, when you're confident of this turn, because of kind of this overlapping multi-bar turn here, I'm not confident yet. I would prefer, you know, different flavors, like taking out yesterday's low, bottoming tail, gap reversal. So it's just not a potent turn yet. That's the problem. Eight from yesterday. What's the wrong price? It's 67.21.